this will start part 2, kind of a more in-depth detail of the system that's recently been installed. We're going to kind of go through some of the equipment that's actually here on site in the new credenza, and then we will return to just some troubleshooting techniques that can be done for the recording itself. Each camera that is installed in this building has its own individual recording unit. So that again is what these Extron pieces are for. So again, each of these equate to a single camera that is installed somewhere in the building. This is the record button. And so it gives you the flash, and now you see that in this particular case, this unit is now recording. So you also have the ability to manually stop the recording here too. Whether you manually hit the record and stop buttons on the unit face itself, or if you select the buttons to manually record and stop over here. If you hit the record and stop button over here, again, the moment you hit stop, whether it's here or manually there, it will automatically send that file to the server.
And where's the server located?
In this particular room, it is in the closet of the conference room. So again, server is not in the same place as, rack of equipment. The biamp is handling the audio portion of what's being recorded. Again, there's nothing that can be changed in that from a standpoint of compressors, EQs, things of that nature. So it's really, there's nothing to touch in that particular case. The network switches that you see here have created the independent network. This is not touching at this moment anything other than the equipment that was installed. It's not touching base communications by any stretch. This Cisco unit is being used to create an independent VoIP network for the GuardX rooms. So again, the phones that we see here, they don't talk to any other phones on campus except for the rooms here, the observation room and the GuardX. So again, everything we have here is duplicated over in Lexington Hall. Again, this really is a set and forget type of situation. We've got photograph reference, so if the lights don't look like this in the future, then there probably is some type of alarm or issue. But obviously from the IT world, green is good, red is bad. So everything right now is green. In that particular case, the system is running nominally. This particular switch that has the few cables is for VoIP. This particular switch over here is handling all of the recorders as well as cameras. We've got various PoE devices. Network management can understand if a camera goes bad, and we probably just need to look at it. If for whatever reason they don't record what they thought they recorded, it's probably because they didn't choose the right microphone option. So if you guys go into a playback and you don't hear someone physically talking on the phone, more than likely it's because they recorded the ceiling mic and not the phone mic. And so the reason that's critically important is in the room microphone, the ceiling microphone, is going to pick up the student. They're in the room, they're talking on the phone, you're going to hear them. What you're not going to hear is the other side of the phone conversation, the observer talking to the student. So again, if you're trying to record a phone conversation, we need to make sure that you're recording the phone mic. On the deep dive of when I keep saying once you hit the stop button, things get dumped to the server, that's what this is. So we're actually looking at the file structure of the server itself. And so what we've done is gone ahead and created basically a folder for each area. We have classrooms, we have GuardX, and again, the other building obviously has 6 GuardX rooms, so it'll have 3 more folders. But within each folder, every time you hit the stop button, it creates an entry. So it's creating a folder. So I don't want that to overwhelm someone to think, oh, it's just going to dump a file. Yes, but it dumps a folder that within the folder gives you the recording, the MP4 video file that you're looking for. So Extron, basically this is something that we can't control, we can't simplify. Once you hit stop, it dumps a folder. What we were able to do was basically give it a name so that it makes sense, and then it timestamps it. So if you guys ever have to go back for historical records, you know that someone was dealing in room C at whatever date and time, you will actually have sequentially listed all that information. So I'm saying that you have 3 spaces where these recordings are stored. If you ever have to access that for whatever reason, the server is a hot swap. We'll certainly give you more information on that particular unit. I think the spec called for a 3-month storage. I think we're probably more like 6. And that's one server. The other building has a duplicate situation as well. The 2 buildings are completely independent. There's no network connection, audio, video connection of any kind between the 2 buildings. So this rack of equipment handles what's installed in this building, and the same for across the parking lot. There is a failsafe here in the server itself, and should you for whatever reason go in here and delete a file, it actually gives you a pop-up that says, "Are you sure to permanently delete?" That's more of a warning message, because when it says permanently delete, it's going to permanently delete it from the individual room folder. But the way that this file structure is set up, there's actually a recycle bin. So it's actually deleting it and dumping it into the server recycle bin. Now, if you delete it from the recycle bin, it is permanently gone. So the reason I say that is someone has to delete things twice in order to physically remove them from access on the server. You can go into any classroom button here on the side, and again, you can choose. We're dealing with room 100, classroom 100 here in Lexington Hall. If I wanted to record the classroom view, I hit record. If I wanted to record the instructor view, I hit record. It's important to notice that these are independent of each other, so I can stop one for whatever reason if I needed to. I can have them both going at the same time for whatever I needed to. There was a gentleman previously asked the question, can we use this for virtual training? More than likely, you probably wouldn't need to record both classroom and instructor view at the same time if you were, let's call it, staging a training class. In that case, you would just record the actual instructor side. To take it a step further, once you hit stop, you could then go into the server and find the file that was just created for the training, and then take it to some post-production for editing for the video before you guys mass distribute.
If the power goes out, sometimes whenever these units boot back up, they don't boot up properly, and you'll see the light red. Just pull power on it, or just reach behind, pull power on that particular unit, and let it reboot again, and it comes back. Not something you should see in normal operation. It's just something we've noticed as we've been taking the rack up and down, with the power. Going back to our green is good. These microphones have got LEDs on them. So if an instructor walks in here and sees that the microphones have got a red LED, red is bad, green is good. So if he sees red on the microphone LEDs, then something is wrong. Most of the time, if it persists red, then of course give us a call and we're going to troubleshooting.
So that's part of that instructor prep before they come in the classroom. Just check all your microphones and all your cameras if they're working.
And we're going to start recording the classroom. We're going to start recording the instructor, and we'll just kind of give him a few moments. Obviously, he's walking around. He may be having a conversation with himself right now. Looks like he is walking out of the room itself. So just hit stop and hit stop. We can now go into the server for 108. There should be multiple files because, again, we recorded multiple sessions. The previous one should be, I think, this one. So if you guys, want to add, headset microphone scenario, replace this, then it's simply a disconnection of the handset, and you can put in.
Okay. It's an actual headset, but it plugs in and it actually just lifts that up and
Perfect.
So
Again, as long as someone's using the handset and not using the speakerphone on the observer side, then it'll record.
Yeah. I see that happening quite often. This didn't record. Well, did you pick up the handset?
Right.
Our admin PC is right there on top. So if we need to get in and do troubleshooting in there, then, you know, that's gonna be with them on the phone and trying to figure out what the heck's going on.
Again, just a quick overview of how to change the pan, tilt, zoom function of each individual camera. Once you actually are logged in again to the IP address with the appropriate credentials, you're then given the ability to choose, and let me back up here to say once you initially log in, it's going to present you with the overview image, the 360 view. You want to change that to view area 1, and then this is the image that you want to adjust, whether it's to tilt, zoom, but again, you're dealing with view area 1. So again, go to the center of the screen and just kind of left click and go the direction that you want to take this camera. Once you have the area that you are looking at, you then can independently zoom for closer view, zoom out for the full view. Once you have created the image that you want, it is kind of a automatically saved scenario. If you have taken the time to set up the image, and when you record and it's not recording this, more than likely what's happened is that it's not looking at view area 1 as the output stream. If you guys go into settings, HDMI, source, it may be something else, but you want it to be view area 1.
Right. Again,
So-
this is settings and stuff that the instructors and the base user don't even need to mess
They
with.
would never be in this world, yes. The reason you would ever be here is, again, if you hit the record button and it didn't see this image, it's probably because it's interpreting a different stream.
Right.
So you always want that to be view area 1. You may have a room that is really, once you take the time to crop the image, that's it. If you guys go into, and I'll start again, if you hit settings, PTZ as the tab, so instead of the image, it's the PTZ. You can hit preset options right here. It says home. You can save it. So basically, we have just stored this as the home position. Why is that important? Let's say if I'm over here just kind of playing around, whatever, if I hit home, it snaps back to the home position.
Okay.
So if you guys want to, for whatever reason, maybe you have an instructor who's very active and they want to move around the room, they may want to set up the room for their virtual training. That was a question that came up earlier. You have the ability to do presets so that as an admin, you guys can jump in here real quick and choose, you know, home position, desk position, whatever you want to call it.
Right. Okay.
But home position, you know, in our world is basically that's the go-to reset.
Got a drop down.
Yeah, it looks like. What about that plus button? Yeah, so new position, that's how you create a new
So,
position.
So you
at
have multiple
least,
settings.
yes.
Yeah.
These are CCTV cameras, and so as you guys, should you start to delve deep into this stuff, you're going to see things like motion settings and pan tilt, almost like alarm mode kind of stuff.
Right.
For the purposes of how this is being used, you pretty much just disregard that.
Right.
It's for the most part a set and forget.
Right.